Welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swatt with the Sacramento Report. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about one of those issues we love to talk about, right? Taxes. My guest is Betty Yee, who's a member of the State Board of Equalization. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Steve.
So the board is responsible really for collecting sales and use taxes,
Yes.
but I know you work closely with the Franchise Tax Board and the IRS on the federal level. And it is tax season, right?
It is tax season. It is well underway. The California tax season, Franchise Tax Board is accepting returns right now, and the federal tax filing season actually is getting off to a late start because of some recent federal tax changes.
And that was partly because of the fiscal cliff deliberations before we knew exactly how those taxes and some of the Bush tax cuts would be affected.
That's right. That's right. The lower tax rates for lower income and middle income Americans are going to be changed, and they will get some benefit. But the income tax rates for upper income earners will be at a higher level, and so we want to be sure those changes were negotiated, agreed upon, and taxpayers will get guidance about how to file.
In your experience, what is the biggest problem, do you think, that taxpayers make?
You know, it's a very practical problem, and that is not being prepared. Getting their records assembled early on. We're coming up at to the end of January, which is when most taxpayers will receive their W-2s from their employers that indicate what their wages and taxes withheld are.
Mm-hmm. And so you find basically people are so they procrastinate so much, they're like in a panic when they get close to April 15th?
Absolutely. April 15th comes, and all of a sudden there's a big rush to get their records together, and that's oftentimes when we see mistakes being made.
Mm-hmm. So your advice obviously would be to sit down and on a day-by-day basis perhaps sort of get your pieces of paper in order.
That's right, and January 31st is a key date because that's generally the date when employers get their W-2s mailed to their employees, when banks get their interest statements mailed, and anyone who has deductions should be looking for their mortgage interest deduction statements and those types of records from their banking institutions.
I think it would be prudent to talk about some potential scams that might be out there.
Absolutely.
Because we hear every year about individuals getting ripped off.
Absolutely. To the extent that taxpayers don't like to work on their tax returns, oftentimes this is the season when we have unscrupulous actors out there portraying themselves to be tax professionals and even portraying themselves as being agents of the Internal Revenue Service. And so we really want to warn and caution taxpayers, be sure that what you are getting in the mail are bona fide official government documents. And
email also.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. And there are some resources on the IRS website that can certainly help with respect to determining what you're receiving is legitimate correspondence.
Okay, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about VITA,
yes.
The Volunteer Assistance Taxpayers Assistance
yes.
Program.
Yes.
Because that's, I guess a lot of people are not using it, but they could.
They could. There are voluntary centers throughout the state where any taxpayer, if they have simple returns to be filed, most of their income comes from wages or maybe Social Security benefits, they can receive free assistance for how to fill out the returns and file it.
And it's my understanding the income threshold is something like $51,000?
That's quite, yes. So it could really be available for many, many taxpayers in California.
And so this is free service.
Yes.
I assume it's like bonded because it's a government assistance, right?
The
to some
volunteers
degree?
are all trained and certified, yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it sounds great. One other thing, the Earned Income Tax Credit,
yes.
which is available for low-income individuals.
Yes.
I understand there's tons, billions that are left on the table.
There are, and particularly when many taxpayers have just felt the pinch of the economic recession, we do believe that there are going to be more low and middle income families eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit.
Okay, that's great. Well, Betty Yee of the Board of Equalization, thank you very much, and coming by, sort of giving us a little warning as to what to expect and how we can prepare.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. A reminder, you can see this and other interviews on YouTube, also on My Government On Demand. I'm Steve Swatt. Have a nice day.